Good evening, and welcome to my live stream presentation on the some of the changes that are coming to the Nantucket ebook site, a few updates, and a lot of improvements. I'm very excited to share these with you today. So let me get this going here, and I'll also take this time, of course, to check the volume on things. So give me just a moment. Let's see here. Let me know in the comments if the audio is right for you. But I'll get started on things. Here we are. And so if you have any questions about what you see here, if you have any comments, you can send those to me either in the chat section of this live stream, which should be on the right-hand side of your screen, or you can send them to me on Twitter as well. And so my Twitter account is Nantucket eBooks. And if you have any questions after the live stream, feel free to email those to me at njb@nantucketebooks.com. Some of the topics we're going to be talking about today are sorry about that, everybody. Let me make sure that we're all good here. I'm not sure what that was. My apologies, that was a little strange. Okay. Where were we? Okay. So we've got a few changes that are going to happen for upcoming live streams. Then I'm going to talk about some updates I've made to the main site, nantucketebooks.com. Then I'm going to be going back and talking again about the new features in version 1.1. After that, I have an announcement for writers who are using Nantucket eBooks currently. And after that, I'll answer questions in the Q&A section. Let me check on things here. All right, very good. First off, live streams. I really enjoy doing the live streams, and of course, there's always room for improvement. One of the problems that I've had in the past is juggling all the different applications. So you have the slideshow. I use OpenOffice's slideshow application, sort of the free software version of PowerPoint. Then you've got your different browser windows have different ebooks on them and demos of the main site. And then I have a notepad, which I've generally used for doing demos of the markup language. Here we are. And so that's a lot to keep track of, honestly. And it sometimes meant that, I forgot the audio. And I really want people to be able to hear me. So I thought of, what can I do to simplify all that? Well, fortunately, we have the technology. And this will be our first live stream that uses a new presentation program that I wrote that should make things easier. So this presentation program that you're watching right here is going to run in the browser, so I don't have to switch to a different program. It also has built-in demos so that I can write text. Instead of going to a notepad and typing it out, I can type it out right in the presentation. And so one other cool thing about it is that I can write my presentations with the Shanty markup language, the same thing that is used to write Nantucket ebooks. And I also use it to do blog updates on the site. So that shows some of the versatility of the Shanty markup language. This whole presentation was written out in plain text with links to the images and made for a very simple process. I love it a lot more than using PowerPoint, I gotta say. So we'll see how it goes for this presentation. So next, I wanted to go back and talk about the updates that happened in version 1.1 of this. I wasn't really happy with how it turned out in my last live stream, and that was part of the impetus for creating this new presentation program, was that I could explain it a little better. So version 1.1 was released on December 29th of 2020. Sorry about that. There we go. It was released on December 29th, 2020, and it has 3 key new features that I wanted to share with you. The first thing that it does is it adds markup for audiobook credits. We have a lot of people who are taking advantage of the audiobook that with Nantucket ebooks you can have built-in audiobooks, and people really like that they don't have to go to a different program to enjoy the audiobook edition. And we've had some people who have done a really good job at creating really high-quality audiobooks. And with a lot of people involved, I needed to write some way that writers can credit all the people involved in the production of these files. So I'm going to show you how you do that. Give me just a minute here. So, okay. Here's how you do it. And so here's our little built-in text feature. And what I'm going to do is, if I wanted to write an audiobook credit, it's going to be audio credits. And then what I'm going to do is, if I have, there's an audiobook director, I could say Mr. Waldman, director, and then I just put 2 slashes after each credit. And casting could be Miss Sanchez. And another one here. And you could do that indefinitely. I'll do one more here. George Fine played Mr. Castillo. And you can go on. The more, if you want to add another credit, you just add another 2 slashes there. And let me show you how that translates into an audiobook. If I so one of the audiobooks that one of our writers has worked on that I was really pleased with was a book called The Curtains Are Blue, which is going to be a serialized cyberpunk novel from a group called The Human Trust. Let's go over to that here and go down. It has a really fantastic audiobook. It's sort of an audio drama. They have there we go. So if I go down to the bottom here, we have the section audiobook credits, and we have Laura Fedora did the narration, played Miss Ashford, who's the main character. You have all these people that are involved, and in order to credit that, if I'll go back here, all I had to do is say audio credits, and then Laura Fedora, narrator. And if I wanted to add someone else, it'd be like that. So that's all you have to do. And I think it's great that we get to have a way to credit all the people who are involved. And that markup is going to be in the user manual. So all you have to do is go to nantucketebooks.com/shantydocs, and that will bring up the manual for using the Shanty markup language. And any ebooks that are going to be made on the site now are going to be able to parse those audiobook credits. Cool. Let's see what's next. The second one is the second feature in version 1.1 is improved footnote support. One of the great features of an ebook is the ability to have the hyperlinks of a web document that you can connect to things. That's what makes Wikipedia so powerful as an encyclopedia, and you get that here with most ebooks. As far as footnotes go, that was a feature that I wanted early on. But recently, as I was creating an ebook, I realized there was a limitation. You could only add one footnote per paragraph. And I realized that there are cases where you really want more than that. First, I ought to talk about how you do footnotes in Nantucket. So let's say this is our paragraph, and we have a few different sentences with a common theme. It would be nice to add footnotes to it. Here's how you do it. You go to where you want your footnote, and you add FN within the angle brackets. Then, below the paragraph, you add FN. Here is our first footnote. And what happens when you parse these ebooks to create the file is it's going to go through, it's going to look for each of these angle brackets, and then it's going to match them up in order with these, with the proper footnotes. So it's going to go through each one by one and pair them up and create the necessary links. Let's add a second footnote here. So we go to the end where we want it, and you don't have to put it at the end of a sentence, but we'll add the second one here. And so this is going to be our second footnote. Here is our second footnote. And you can add a third one. FN. Here is our third footnote. So let's see how that looks in practice. One motivation for doing this was I was creating an ebook for the novel Candide by Voltaire, which is one of my favorite books. And I realized that, and there's some pretty heavy historical references in Candide. There's one part where Candide is who's constantly under threat. He's being questioned by some guards, and the guards explain that they're on edge because of several recent assassination attempts that have been made on monarchs in Europe. And there are footnotes for each one, for each of these references. They're all within one paragraph. So that's when I discovered that there was a limitation on the footnotes, and I made the change. Let me bring up Candide here. There we are. Candide. This is a very funny book. Let's see. It's here we are. Let me make sure that I have this here. Good. So in this section, they're talking, because a poor beggar of the country of Atrabati heard some foolish things said. And if we look at what happened there, that's footnote number 29. We click and it goes down to this footnotes section that's at the very end of the book. Let's find our footnote 29. Damien, who had attempted the life of Louis XV in 1757, was born at Arras, capital of Artois. Forgive my pronunciation there. And we have a link right here that's going to go. It's going to take us back up to where we were reading, and that's what's so great. You don't, with a physical book, you find the footnote. You have to go find it at the end of the book, and then you got to remember where you were and go back. On an ebook, it's all hyperlinked. And here's the second one. This induced him to commit a parricide, not such as that of 1610 in the month of May. And then we go down and we learn on May 14th, 1610, Ravaillac assassinated Henry VI. We go back up again. But such as that of 1594 in the month of December, and such as others which have been committed in other years, and other months by other poor devils who had heard nonsense spoken. So if we learn what happened in December, on December 27th, 1594, Jean Châtel attempted to assassinate Henry IV. And then we click and we go back up to read. So if I can get back here to my presentation, that is one of the big changes, is that now it's very easy to have multiple footnotes. And then lastly, something I'm very pleased with is we have Autoplay for multi-chapter audiobooks. I think this is going to be very important as we continue to develop the audiobook library on the site. When people are driving, they don't want to have one file end and then have to fiddle with their phone to get to the next one. It should just play seamlessly. And to go back to Candide again, I can show you how that works in practice. Let's see here. Candide. There we are. I'll go up to my audiobook menu here, and I'll bring down the audiobook player. Click on it. Takes it up, and let me move myself here, because I see I'm in the way. Oh, no, not that one. This one. Perfect. Oh, God. All right. Webcam. Very curious. This is interesting. I'm going to move that up here. Okay. So we've started off with the introduction, and we have our scrubber here that allows us to skip ahead. So if I get to the end of the audiobook, this chapter here, play, and as I reach the end, it goes to chapter 1.
This is a LibriVox recording. Candide by Voltaire, Chapter 1.
And if I were to go to the end of this one, you see it does cycle. 1, 2, oh, it's a short one. There we are. And I'll go back here.
.org. Read by Ted DeLorme in Fort Mill, South Carolina, in January 2007. This is a LibriVox recording.
And you'll see it goes straight into chapter 2. So, sorry about that. Bring that back down again. And so, yeah, that all plays seamlessly. And I think that will really help with the audiobook experience as our audiobooks get more elaborate. So, to go over those new features again, we've got the new markup for the audiobook credits. We have support for multiple footnotes per paragraph, and we have autoplay for multi-chapter audiobooks. And all those features will be available with any ebook created using the text parser on the front page of the site. Now I wanted to talk about information. I think the most important thing right now for Nantucket eBooks is to keep communicating to people what it is, so that people can learn about it and understand the incredible features that it offers. And so anything that I can do to make that clearer to people is something that I want to do. With that in mind, I wanted to show you here that we have the site, and I've made some updates. That includes a new About section that has been moved to the top. Let me show that to you here. The customer for Nantucket eBook is the writer, and you want to communicate first and foremost to writers that with Nantucket eBooks, it becomes super easy to create a really great reading experience for their readers. I'll start off here with, so if you look up at the top, the first thing you see now is the About section. And we talk about, first, the Shanty markup language, which allows you to write ebooks. And we have a demo here of what that looks like. So this is from The Count of Monte Cristo. And we can see here the title tag. We have the author tag here, a keyword, chapter headings, a subchapter heading, and then the opening line, where the ship the Faroan arrives in Marseille. So then we talk more here about Shanty. There's a link right up here to the manual, and there is a link here to the FAQ page. And then here is our text field, so that when you have finished writing your book, you just paste it in here, click Generate My Nantucket ebook, and the HTML file is downloaded to your computer. And as a matter of fact, you can highlight this text right here and drop it, just paste it in, and if you click that, it'll download the file to your computer. And if you have the offline reader, which I mentioned further down, you can get that. You can read the ebook. After that, I talk about what it's like to read Nantucket ebooks. This is the text that we had up here. This is what it looks like on a smartphone. It will render out the title, the author, the chapter headings. It'll add the drop cap to the first letter of the first word of the text. So hopefully that gives people some sense of what the end result would be. And I also talk about audiobook editions, and here's what that would look like if you were in the audio player. Lastly, I talk about offline reading, that they were designed to be read offline and online. And right here is a link to the zip folder. So if you download this zip folder here and extract it on your computer, you can download any ebook, any Nantucket ebook into that folder, and it will play. It's essentially a very compact version of the site. So you get to read that on your local device. They don't necessarily have to be connected to the internet. Let me get back here. Cool. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them there, and I'd be happy to answer them. And actually that will be coming up next after this section. So please comment in the YouTube live stream or on Twitter, and I'll be happy to answer that for you. So the last thing I want to talk about is outreach. Something that that I definitely want for the site is for more people to be using Nantucket ebooks. And I know that's something that, to bring in people to come to the site. That is my top, that ought to be my top priority. And so I wanted to share a little bit about some of my plans to do that. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing I'm sorry, I'm tongue-tied here. I will be communicating with the writers who are currently using Nantucket eBooks about what I'm doing to bring more viewers to the site and to get more writers interested in Nantucket eBooks. And to that end, I wanted to announce that I'm going to be starting something called an outreach report. And this essentially will be a report for writers using Nantucket eBooks about how I'm finding new writers and readers, who I've reached out to about it, as far as other writers, other writing groups. That report will be updated every Sunday, and it'll just include who I've reached out to that week. I will break it down by new people I've contacted and people that I'm following up with. So it is my hope that that'll give you some sense of what I'm doing to bring more people to the site. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think it'll be a great factor in motivation. So the first one is going to be on Sunday the 24th, so that's going to be this Sunday, and I'm really looking forward to it. So anyway, that's all I had to announce for today. We had the new presentation program, which I've been very pleased with how well it worked. I'm going to have new features in version 1.1 that include the new syntax for audiobook credits, support for multiple footnotes per paragraph, Autoplay for multi-chapter audiobooks. We've got better information on the front page about what exactly goes into Nantucket eBooks, its benefits for writers and for readers. And lastly, I've announced that I will be having an outreach report for writers using the site. So, with that, I would like to do the Q&A. Let's take a look here. If there's any other questions. Human Encounters is here. Glad you could make it. Question from Frog de Bomb. Glad you could make it. Are you thinking about children's literature and talking to schools? Yes, I am looking forward to reaching out to schools. I think this is, I think the technology for Nantucket eBooks would be of great benefit to schools. As far as children's literature specifically, yes, I would love to have more books aimed at children on the site. As a matter of fact, I was very keen to maybe, at some point, quite soon, I would like to have a book of poetry by Edward Lear, who was one of the great artists of the Victorian era and really helped popularize the limerick. He wrote quite a bit of poetry, and I'd be interested in something to do a book of his work, and that would help me in offering some improvements to how poetry can be incorporated into a Nantucket ebook. Right now you can add verse poetry in, but I'd like to add some more features to be able to customize things like line indentation. I also think it would be, as far as for schools, I think that would be very helpful because it would save on having to buy physical copies of certain books that are part of curricula, and that's something I've been planning on quite a bit. Let me check a look here, see if there are any other questions on Twitter. Oh, cool. Let's see here. 3. I'm just taking a quick look on Twitter here. Oh, excellent. As far as yes, and talking to schools is something that I'll be adding into the outreach report. If there are no other questions, I do have one more thing that I'm very excited to share with you. So, as I mentioned, one of the books we have on our site is The Curtains Are Blue, being written by the Human Trust. And I've been very pleased. It's going to be a serialized book, and I'm really looking forward to the coming chapters, which are going to be about a teacher in the distant future named Lydia Ashford. But it's something that's really exciting is that they're working on a second book that is called The Mist Dragon Chronicles. And it's going to be more in the realm of comedy and fantasy. And from what I've seen, I think it's going to be a really exciting story. I highly encourage you to follow the Human Trust on Twitter, and that would be at Encounters of. It's a really cool group of writers, and they've put a lot of work into the art for their books and the audiobooks. So I have a lot of anticipation for what they come up with as far as the Mist Dragon Chronicles goes. I'll check one more time here for questions. I'll answer one more here. When you create footnotes, do they appear at the end of the text, and are they numbered sequentially? That's an excellent question. So let's go back to Candide here, and we'll take a look at those footnotes. So do they appear at the end of the text? Okay. So let's go here to Candide, and I'll go to the very end of the book. That is where I put the footnotes. So at the very end, what you'll see, we have an About the Author section. So here's the end. Then About the Author. Then I have a note on the process of transcribing that. A book on, call to action. The credits for the book. And then at the very end here, we have the footnotes. Where we have our different footnotes, and they are sequential, yes. But it is really great how easy footnotes become with ebooks. That I can just click here, and it will take me exactly to where it was, and I can go down here. Here's another one. Offices of State, number 14. Let's go down there. And yeah, you can do all sorts of hyperlinks. If you want to link from one part of a text to another part, it's very simple to do that. And actually, that opens up a whole new dimension as far as narrative goes when you're able to hyperlink like that. If someone was to take advantage of that, I think that would be really cool. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to show for you tonight. And let me get back to my presentation. Thank you very much for watching. You can follow me at Nantucket eBooks, and if you have any questions, please email me at njb@nantucketebooks.com, and I'd be happy to talk with you. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to sharing the first outreach report this weekend. Hope you all have a good night, and stay safe out there.